Hello. So, okay. So I'm from STMicroelectronics, and I will speak for the next 20 minutes about digital identity and what kind of solution we can provide in ST. So I will just start with explaining what is an authentication, a strong authentication. This is basically relying on two main principles. The first one is a digital signature, which is done with cryptography, and the second one is trust. In order to manage this kind of approach, we need to have a cryptographic function like hashing function and asymmetric digital signature for authenticity. Of course, this can be done in a symmetric way, but for the product I want and the solution I want to present, we will keep the asymmetric use case. So here, what is a digital signature? This is basically relying on asymmetric cryptography, which means we have a key pair. Inside this key pair, we have a public part, which can be distributed to anyone, and a private part. Then this is the secret you want to keep. And the principle of the digital signature is to make an operation with the private part of the key and to be able to verify it with the public part of the key. So here, to present, if Alice wants to send a Genium document to her Bob, she will send her public key to Bob, and then she will make the digital signature thanks to the private key, and send both signature and document to Bob. And then Bob will be able to verify the signature. But asymmetric cryptography, I won't go into the detail of the mathematics, but there are a key size in this kind of system. And generally, when you generate a signature, it's on a fixed amount of data. So in order to extend this mechanism to any kind of document, you can have large documents to sign, we use a hash function, which is a cryptographic one-way function, in order to reduce a huge amount of data to a fixed amount of data. So for that, we are using hash function, and if we go back to our previous authentication, we can have any size of data going through a hash function, then to the signature generation, and we can send it to an authenticator, for instance, who will do the same operation. He will hash the data he received and verify the signature of the data. So here is what we call a strong authentication using asymmetric cryptography. But what is missing here is how can we trust a public key? Because a public key, by nature, it's a public data, so anyone can get access to it. So to do so, we have defined a concept of certificates. So what is a certificate? This is a public key with some metadata, like validity period, signature schemes, and an issuer. So an issuer is the third party who will generate a digital signature for this certificate. Okay. So here, the issuer is an entity that will be able to attest that a certificate is a Genium certificate. So it's relying, once again, on digital signature. So here, we have the content of our certificate with header, with the public key, and with the signature generated by the issuer. And the issuer, we will call it a certificate authority. It's a third party that will sign the different certificates. So now, if we trust the third party, we can trust the certificate, and therefore we can trust the public key inside this certificate. And by doing that, we can trust the public key, and when we challenge the device, we can say, okay, it's a Genium one. So what we see here is that we can chain the different certificates. Why? Because you can have different manufacturing sites that are doing different products, and each product needs to have a certificate. But at the end, when you want to authenticate all devices made by a brand, for instance, you will have to distribute all the certificate authorities that generate these device certificates. But thanks to the chaining of the certificate, you can have a master root certificate that can authenticate all the chain till your object. So the certificate authority we have between the end device and the root certificate are called intermediate certificates. So it can help you to segregate different production manufacturing or different product line and having one company certificate to enable authentication on all the devices that you produce. So here, what I want to present is a digital identity of an object. What is a digital identity? It's a certificate and the associated private key. Because we have seen that to do an authentication, we need to challenge the object. So we need to generate a signature with the private key. And we need the certificate to verify the signature. And then thanks to the certificate chain, we can trust one certificate in order to say, okay, this is a Genium object. So now, when we need to do authentication of IoT device or goods, we will need to have this digital identity. And the key point is how we will manage this digital identity. So here, we see that digital identity make authentication. We can use it in communication. So nowadays, when you are doing a HTTPS connection, you are authenticated a remote server. Because when you are going to your bank account, you want to be connected to your bank server, not to a fake one that will get your identifier. So therefore, the server has a certificate, and in your browser, you have root certificates that are trusted, that are used to authenticate your server. And this is what we can use also for IoT devices. We can use this identity also for brand, what we call brand protection. That means when you have a consumable in your application and you want to avoid having clones, you can add a digital identity to your the consumable you generate, and then you can verify on the field that this is the peripheral or the consumable is a Genium one by challenging this digital identity. Also, we have new regulation for the digital product passport, where you need to make a link between a physical object and its representation on a web page, for instance. And the digital product passport will give you information of what is inside. So the proposal here is to say, okay, identifying the object is the first step, but it's better to challenge its identity to make sure that it's really coupled with the digital passport that is provided by the manufacturer, to avoid people using your digital passport on other products and trying to fool people. So now we know what is a digital identity, what is it for, and the question is how do I inject this digital identity in my devices? Because for the certificate, it's public data. It's not complicated to manipulate. But for the private key, here it's something that can be complicated to manipulate. So generally, we want to inject a digital identity at manufacturing time. And depending on the manufacturing structure, there are several ways to do that. You can have either a trusted manufacturing, so you have a good level of trust in your manufacturer because it's your facility, for instance, and you can say, okay, I can delegate the private key management to this facility. But they will have direct access to this private key, and you need to make sure that they will not reuse a private key to do other products. You have also other way of doing that by using what we call a PKI, which is public key infrastructure. Generally, it includes a certificate authority that issue certificates, but in that case, you need to have a connection between manufacturing sites and the PKI. And this connection should be 100% guarantee in terms of uptime to avoid line stops. So here we see that depending on the manufacturing, we can have some issue in terms of confidentiality of the private key or in terms of reliability of the solution. So here we introduce the secure element. So a secure element is here to handle private key and certificates. And they are designed to manage a digital identity. So the secure element is state-of-the-art cryptography. It's a standalone companion chip that is here to handle private keys and cryptography for you. And if you want to, for instance, to attack a device by trying to extract this private key, because when you have it, you can make clones, you will need to have physical access to the device, because private key is isolated in this secure element. So if you are able to inject a software on the main MCU, even by scanning all the flash, you will not be able to get access to the private key, because it's isolated inside the secure element. And when you will do physical attack to the device, you will need to break the device, and after you will need to break a secure element. And secure elements generally are designed with physical protection to protect against this kind of attack. So the cost of an attack on a secure element is very high. So this can void the interest of an attacker to get access to this kind of products. So here in ST, we are providing ST-Safe products, which is a perfect companion to your solution when you need to manage a digital identity. So this secure element can be used as a standalone for peripheral authentication, or directly a companion chip to your IoT device in order to make secure communication. So in both cases, authentication or secure communication will do an authentication of the device and a challenge of the device identity. So we use the same mechanism, which is giving access to a certificate, and after having the possibility to generate a digital signature with this certificate. So adding a ST-Safe to your architecture will simplify the way to manage the digital identity in your application. So instead of injecting a digital identity, you will solder this digital identity to your application. So here we have a family of products called ST-Safe A that come with an optimized solution for IoT devices that will come with a certificate preloaded and private key. And on top of that, we will provide a certificate authority that will allow you to verify the identity of the ST-Safe. And depending on the volume of your solution, we can propose a dedicated certificate authority. That means you will have parts that we will sold only to you for your application. So now, if we look at the different architectures that we can have, we have an IoT solution. So you have the main processor, could be MCU, could be MPU. You have your sensor, you have your actuators, and you have connectivity when you want to make it connected to the other one. And you can add the security thanks to the ST-Safe. And this small secure microcontroller connected on I2C bus will handle the digital identity for your application. We have also the standalone version. So in Europe, we will have a new battery regulation where you will have to open a battery design. And here we have a direct interest to verify if the battery that is plugged to your application is your Guignol battery. So for that, you will need a digital identity. And here, secure element can help you to add this digital identity to the battery. We have for the printer market, here we have a consumable, the printer cartridge. And here we can say, okay, I will guarantee the optimal results if you use my products. So in that case, it has meaning to authenticate the ink cartridge by you challenging its digital identity. And for the gaming application, so here is the peripheral that we want to authenticate. Why we will do some such thing? Because we want to provide you the best gaming experience. So you need to use a controller that is evaluated against our requirement to have the best experience as possible. So if someone tries to sell you a chip or a controller, if it has not been certified, you can verify it. And you can know that, okay, there's no need to rush against your gaming console. It's because you have a crap controller that you are not experiencing the game as you expect. Okay. So here we have a full personalization solution started at 5K units. We are providing a personalized certificate and private key injection in our facility. So as I mentioned previously, we are speaking about secure microcontroller, and these secure microcontrollers are certified against common criteria scheme. So that means the full development is audited by common criteria from hardware development, software development, till the personalization. So the service we offer is in our personalization center, which is common criteria certified. So here we act as a trust partner for your application in order to delegate the generation of digital identity for your application. And this digital identity, depending on your use case, you can use it as an application identity. So if you have a cloud connectivity, you can use it directly. If you want to do brand protection, you can use it directly. But if you say, okay, I want to use my PKI because I will manage my products on different customer applications, and I want to give different certificates per application, you can still use the digital identity, which is initially provisioned, in order to leverage a secure provisioning on new credentials for your application. So, as a takeaway, we introduced a digital identity concept, and this is a key element to add to your IoT solution. And the STSafe-A is positioned to simplify the way to manage this digital identity thanks to secure elements, certified secure elements by ST. And we have also other products in this STSafe family. And here, thanks to the personalization, it will really help you to simplify your digital identity management. So, as a conclusion, what I believe is when we speak about cryptography, generally, it's complex. People think it's complex to implement, complex to use, complex to provision. But now we have secure element solution that will simplify everything for you, from the implementation to the management of the private key. And really, I believe that thanks to this kind of elements, there is no more excuse to say, okay, I don't want to add digital identity to my object because it's too complex, because we have way to simplify this for you. So we have time, I think, to take some questions, or I will be there till 4:30 if you want to have a direct discussion. I don't know, did someone have a question for me? No? Okay. So thank you. If you want to see a demonstration, we have it on our booth. So we are on all four in stand 4A, sorry, in stand 148. And I will be happy to discuss with you if you have a specific question and so on. Thank you.